Well,
Yes.
that building is...
America is. Let's go. America. Heck yeah. Eagles and cheeseburgers instead of metric units. America. Heck yeah.
is amazing, but we're still the best. Okay, that building is even better. What is that? Wait, they had wireless energy? What is going on? Fine, I'll admit it. The mainstream narrative is lying. What a
They
great
teach in history class, what they don't teach in history class.
way to get people to believe the narrative.
Oh.
Tell them that they're the best. Who is going to question that? I guess some like us will, but
I won't. You tell me I'm the best, I'm going to believe you. I'm going to say thanks.
the majority won't, for now. We look around, and most of these incredible ancient buildings were taken over by banks or the USA. The USA and banks were both created, and what do you know? Right after that, we get all these brand new inventions. If we had these buildings in the 1800s, there's no doubt they had technology that is also hidden from our history. Other types of technology, other than just building. If this timeline is planned, then all previous history is false or extremely altered. If this is true, and this isn't the first time the car and the light bulb were invented, where are we? And when was the first time it actually was invented? How long ago? What are the odds
Hidden, you don't say.
that the stock market is created 16 years after the USA is formed? What are the odds that the USA is formed in 1776 and 16 years later the stock market comes to be in 1792? How does that happen? And why do both of these things get all the great buildings? Have you seen photos of this building?
Yeah, why do they get all the great buildings? Why don't I get a great building?
If you've watched any of my previous videos, you will know that this building was found, claimed, and repurposed. Absolutely incredible architecture. 12 years after the stock market's formed, we have the first train. What are the odds? So these people needed to get around, right? So in 1804, we have the first train. In 1817, the first bicycle was created. So a servant to the Duke of Germany made the bike. A servant.
The Duke of Germany, you say?
This reminds me of the stories where the prisoners built all the Capitol buildings. What a joke. Nothing happened for hundreds and thousands of years, but in the matter of like 20 years, we got the USA, we got the stock market, the first train, and now we got a bike. And this is just crazy.
USA stock market bike, too good to be true. Tell me more.
Of course, we have to wait a long time now, till 1863 for anything else to happen. What torture. 1863, soccer was created. They had no games before this. Nobody played any games. No fun, no getting around, nothing. For thousands of years. No fun. Finally, we have some fun in 1863, and we have the first phone in 1876. So you can see we're getting some fun, we're getting some toys, we're doing some technology, we're introducing it to the community once again, in my opinion.
Yeah, no fun. No fun. No fun before that.
That same year, 1876, we got another...
Shh, don't talk about the Olympic Games. It doesn't apply to this video. Gosh. Don't ruin it.
game created, the Major League Baseball. So now we have two games. Now things are getting fun. So the mainstream narrative can't figure it out. They don't know where baseball came from. They say maybe from a game called Tutball, Stool Ball, Flanders, Rounders. They just don't know. Then in 2005, someone wrote a book called Baseball Before We Knew It. And they don't know what the heck is going on. Honestly, it's embarrassing for them when you really read what they're saying and have open eyes. People are starting to use trains and bikes and phones and sports, all in the matter of a few years. Go figure. Nothing happens for thousands of years, but as soon as the USA opens up,
Night, Wadrath.
everything starts happening. What are the odds? It's starting to rain here. If you can hear it, I'm sorry.
That
In
sounds nice.
1878, the first light bulb. So now we've got electricity. 2 years after the phone, we are pumping this stuff out, guys. I mean, we got the phone, we got the light bulb. People are just brilliant in this time period, huh?
We're crushing it. We have a phone, we have a light bulb. We're crushing it. Crushing it.
Creating games.
Yes.
Should we mention the electricity story where
Yes.
Thomas Edison flew a kite with a key attached so he could electrocute himself? I bet you they wish they wrote a better story for that one. Oh wait, what? Only 8 years later we got the first car? This is no way. If you believe this narrative, if you believe that everything just happens at the same time and nothing happened ever before this, then I'm sorry. This is not possible. 1895, we got the first power tool, okay? No more chisels, we have tools. Just incredible what's happened in the last few years. What were people doing in the 1400s? They must have been bored with no lights, no cars, no nothing. What were they doing in 2,000 years ago? I have no idea. I mean, oh my gosh, they must have been hiding in a cave, if you believe the mainstream narrative. Well, 8 years after the first power tool, we definitely need to start flying a plane, right? So in 1903, we got the first plane. Let's just start flying these things around. The Wright brothers were so smart. Their mom must have been so proud. The first airplane flew 852 feet on its fourth and final flight, supposedly. But get this, it was damaged while landing. And minutes later, a powerful gust of wind blew it over and wrecked it. Couldn't write that any better. It had to get blown over by wind. And then, in 1920, the NFL was created. So we've got tons of games.
I always knew the NFL was up to something. Too much. Too much.
Tons of tech.
They should have held off the NFL till, like, inventing it in, like, I don't know, maybe 2010. Maybe we wouldn't have caught on if it was then.
We are just going. Our society is the best. Ever. I mean, you'd think that all of this would be created over a long period of time. It just comes right out, right after the next one, right after the next one, right after the next one, because 7 years later, in 1927, we get the first TV. People are making cars, planes, trains,
NFL.
TVs, power tools, electricity. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But of course, the USA, the government, and the stock market were first. They were before all of this. Right before all of it. Not way before all of it, just right before. Right before. In 1936, we have the first computer. So now we have TVs, computers. I mean, what's next? 1946, the NBA started. So basketball.
Dang. The NBA too.
Ball starts with the most ridiculous story of all time. They started the game of basketball with a peach basket and a soccer ball. You know, all of us, we all just make games on our free time with peach baskets that turn into multi-billion-dollar industries. And in 1983, the internet was created. Just incredible. This timeline is so short, yet you've got everything you need, and you had nothing before this. How do you go from nothing to everything? It doesn't make sense. If you believe that, like I said earlier, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can say. If you really believe that we've gotten everything all in a matter of 200 years, then there's nothing I can say. This is proof, in my opinion, that they had all this stuff. They know how to run a society from scratch. They implant it right into our society after a few years. And here we are today. If this timeline was in court, the judge would laugh and tell them that this narrative is absolutely ridiculous. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment below if you have any other things that just you could add.
Timeline begins 1800, my lunch break.
There's more incredible inventions
already
within
subscribed.
this time frame, but
don't even need to worry about it. Don't even need to worry about it. I'm already subscribed. I got this. What about the star forts, though? About the star forts. Star forts. These are crazy. Have you heard about the star forts? Star forts are insane. Hang on. Star fort. Star fort. Star fort. Star fort. Star fort theory. Oh, it's too long. Okay. star forts. They're everywhere. They're all around the world, and they all look the same. But we're just told that they're forts. And there was always a battle. And guess what? Every star fort has been burned. I think. Yeah. Coincidence? I think not. A long, long time ago, in a castle far away. Let's go! Why are these forts so pointy? This is the video I needed. This is the energy I need. Any conspiracy theorists, this is the video you need. This is it. Why are these forts so pointy?
The thing is that castles were a reflection of the armies at the time. Not much changed about castles for thousands of years, because not much changed about the armies that attacked them. Lave me Mont, lave me Bailey, simple as.
That all works before the canon.
That all that all works before the cannon, yeah. A mod in a Bailey is a great idea if you don't have cannons shooting at you. That's why nothing really changed for thousands of years with castles. They kind of looked the same. They had a big wall, and you kept the barbarians out, right? Because medieval castles and before were not...
That's right. Wake up, people. Nobody cared about me until I got the goats. Nobody cared who I was before I got the goats. But now that I have the goats, everybody cares.
Designed to defend against cannons. They were designed to defend against people with swords and spears and arrows from just running up, scaling the walls, and killing you. Castles were a reflection of the armies at the time. Build a big wall, keep the barbarians out. Then the cannon shows up. The cannon could shatter thick stone walls that were previously impervious to basically anything. To make matters worse...
Are they going to bring up the trebuchet? Are they going to bring up the trebuchet? I think they're going to bring up the trebuchet.
Castle walls were usually vertical, meaning a perpendicular impact from direct cannon fire would transfer the full-on momentum of that projectile straight into the fortification.
Yeah, like early tank armor.
Yeah, and if you know anything about armor on a tank, you would know that you would much rather have an incoming shell hit your armor at an angle so that it basically bounces off the armor and doesn't transfer all of its force into the vehicle.
Yeah.
And into you. Usually, castles were built up on hills, which was useful when tired men are trying to scale the walls, but actually it's kind of a disadvantage when someone else has a cannon and aims up at your prominent structure.
That was a trebuchet!
Like a giant target that says, shoot me.
Would you like to shoot me now or wait till you get home?
The last castles.
The pinnacle of fort building at around 1350 to 1400 was the Château de Vincennes in Paris. It had an imposing edifice, which was not only intimidating to the peasants rolling around in the mud, it was a world-class defensive fortification because it was useful as a tower from which to shoot arrows from at an optimum arc. Basically, you can shoot much farther when you're higher up, and you can also see attackers coming in the distance if you have height. It was a world-class defensive fortification for its era, but the cannon's widespread adoption made it quickly obsolete shortly after it was constructed. In 1453, the Ottomans famously battered down the Great Walls of Constantinople.
The Ottomans? You mean the footrests? They had a nation? The furniture footrest had a nation? What?
Noble with their cannons. That brought an end not only to the 1500-year-old Roman Empire, but also to the Middle Ages as an era entirely, and definitely an end to the castle as a useful fortification in Europe. Imagine that you are a duke or duchess, and you're hanging out in late 1400s Italia, and you have to fix this problem. Life is otherwise pretty good, and it's been a peaceful 40 years. Sexy men are painting you frescoes. Slightly less sexy men are building you neat contraptions. Things are going well. That is until the massive army of France shows up on your doorstep with cannons. Knock, knock. This castle that was relevant from Roman times until now can no longer protect you. So what can you do?
Overture, you
can
made
add
me laugh.
glacis to your existing fortification, your already existing castle. Just dig up some dirt, pile it up around the base, ideally at a nice fixed angle, and then any incoming projectile that would otherwise catastrophically impact the foundation of your castle just hits the dirt and you're good. But that's
Smart.
not enough.
Nope.
Your facade is still vulnerable. You could also build bastions outside of your existing castle.
Bastion.
Circular bastions extend out of your castle, and then when a cannon shot comes in, it's more likely to graze off and have its force be redirected rather than going straight into the side of your castle and into you. Bastions like this were awesome, except now they caused a fatal flaw. When they were circular, they created these things called dead zones where attackers could hide and avoid enemy fire when they were assaulting the fortress. So all of this jostling to protect from the new powerful cannons
Not the
made
jostling.
people forget that you still got to defend against soldiers on the ground with even swords and spears from climbing up your walls.
And you just built them a big dirt ramp.
With the glacis on the side of the fort, it's even easier to scale the walls than it used to be. So to fix this problem, this dead zone problem, the bastion shape became triangular, meaning that an incoming cannonball is not only likely to graze off of the structure, all areas of the wall are now effectively covered by guys with guns, meaning no more dead zones. Okay? You could also add triangular ravelins that would be a separate structure on the outside of the fort. So usually between two bastions, you build a ravelin to protect the exposed flat part of the fortress, kind of like giving yourself an extra bastion in the middle. So, this basic fort structure that we've talked about became to be known as the trace italienne, the Italian outline. It's also commonly known as a bastion fort.
Hi, Glick.
It was not just a pentagon, okay? It was all sorts of shapes. It was a star, an oblate star, or an octagon, and it was whatever that is. Meanwhile, the modern US Pentagon was designed as a pentagon to, quote, fit in between some existing roads on a building site and maximize floor space. But it was probably also an homage to the Trace Italienne. So, these bastion forts are now popping up like wildfire across Europe and even all over the world. Compared to the castles of yore, bastion forts got much wider and way lower, giving themselves a lower target profile and creating areas for deadly overlapping fields of fire. You're putting cannons on the forts now and guys with guns, and they're creating overlapping fields of fire. The same painter I mentioned from earlier also designed the bastion to defend Florence in the 1520s. They made it a mathematical engineering game to perfect the science of defense architecture. And nobody was better at this than the grand master of the Trace Italienne, the Steve Jobs of Renaissance fortifications, Sébastien le Prestre, Marquis de Vauban.
Sébastien le Précis Marquis de Vauban.
More commonly just known as Vauban.
Bless you.
He put tenaille outside of the main walls
Would
to
you call
provide
me?
extra fire angles and more protection for the vulnerable flat parts between the ravelins. He built crownworks and hornworks. He made readouts and lunettes.
It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
All of these combined together in a super complex, intricate web of enfilading fire and cannon to make it more difficult for the attacker to win. Enfilading fire. Enfilade is when fire overlaps.
What? Oh.
Vauban built
Thought he said
vast
infidel.
networks of bastion fortresses across the borders of France, so commonly that they became known themselves as Vauban forts, and he made France of its day literally impossible to invade.
Yes.
The Star Fort is basically a visual artifact of the arms race that happened in the Renaissance and early modern period. But all innovations eventually become outdated themselves.
No.
For over 3 centuries, the bastion fortification dominated the defensive game. But in the 1800s, the game-changing explosive shell was invented, rendering bastion forts vulnerable to getting blitzed into oblivion.
Yeah.